Story 1: The Basement Club in Berlin. In 2016, a group of college students from France took a weekend trip to Berlin to experience its underground club scene. They were young, energetic, and eager for adventure. On their second night, they stumbled upon a dimly lit bar in a quiet alley with a sign that simply said, "Void." The doorman, tall and silent, checked their IDs and waved them in without a word. Inside, the atmosphere was strange. The music wasn't loud, it was low and pulsating, like a heartbeat. The lights flickered red and white, revealing faces that didn't look entirely sober. The students danced for hours, losing track of time. Then one of them, Lena, noticed a set of stairs leading down from the back corner. They were unmarked, but she thought they might lead to another dance floor. When she descended, the air changed. The thumping music grew muffled, replaced by something else, a faint hum, mechanical, almost electrical. The basement was nearly empty except for a few figures standing perfectly still, facing the walls. Lena turned back, but the stairs were gone. The doorway had vanished into the concrete. Panic set in. Then she heard it, a whisper, close to her ear, speaking in a language she didn't understand. When she spun around, the people who'd been facing the walls now stood behind her, their faces expressionless, eyes reflecting the dim light. Hours later, security footage showed her friends leaving the club without her. They thought she'd gone home early. She was never found. A week later, the club was shut down after a police raid. The basement wasn't there anymore. The owner claimed there was never a lower floor at all, just solid foundation. Story 2: The Drink That Never Emptied. In 2019, a bartender named Miguel worked at a luxury nightclub in Miami, known for its celebrity guests and wild parties. One evening, a man in an all-white suit sat at the bar and ordered a simple gin and tonic. Miguel served him, and the man smiled without saying much. Hours passed, but the drink never seemed too empty. Miguel swore he hadn't refilled it once. At closing time, when the lights came up, the man was gone. Only his untouched glass remained on the counter, condensation still dripping down its sides. Miguel went to wash it, but stopped when he noticed something at the bottom, a small silver coin engraved with the number 13. The next night, the same man returned, same seat, same drink. But he didn't speak this time. When Miguel looked closer, he realized the man's reflection wasn't visible in the mirrored back bar. He told his manager, who brushed it off as exhaustion. But that night, Miguel had a dreamer, vivid one. The man in white was sitting at the bar again, except the club was empty and silent. He leaned forward and whispered, "Pour one for the next soul." When Miguel woke, his phone buzzed with a message from work. His co-worker had been found dead behind the bar, glass shards scattered around him. In his hand was a silver coin marked 14. The club shut down within a month. Rumor says the property owner still finds those silver coins hidden near the old bar floor, each marked with a new number. Story 3: The Strobe Room. in 2022. A nightclub in Seoul became famous for its strobe room, a small chamber lit entirely by flashing white lights synced with techno beats. Patrons entered for short bursts to experience what they called time disconnection. But one night, something went wrong. A group of 4 friends entered the strobe room together. 5 minutes later, only 3 came out. The staff checked the cameras, but the footage inside the room was distorted beyond recognition. All they could see were flashes and blurred figures moving unnaturally fast. The missing woman, Hannah, was a local art student. When police arrived, they found no sign of struggle, no exits other than the main door. The club's power system was inspected, and engineers discovered that the strobe lights had been operating at a dangerously high frequency one that could induce hallucinations and temporary blindness. But here's the part that confused everyone. During the inspection, the power to the strobe room wasn't even connected. The lights had been running without electricity. Months later, the club reopened under a new name. The strobe room was sealed off, but customers reported hearing faint flashes and static behind the door, like lightning trapped in a box. Story 4. The Backroom Performer. In 2015, a nightclub in New Orleans hosted weekly mystery performances where unlisted acts would appear on stage without prior announcement. The audience never knew who they'd see. One night, a performer dressed in a black mask and suit stepped up to the mic. The DJ stopped the music, and the crowd fell silent as a haunting melody began to play. The man didn't sing, he just spoke, slowly, rhythmically, about guilt, secrets, and watching people from behind glass. His words grew darker until he said something that froze everyone. "She's here tonight, hiding in red." People looked around nervously. A woman in the front row, wearing a red dress, stood up to leave. The performer stopped and pointed directly at her. The lights went out. When they came back on, the stage was emptying, so was her seat. Security footage showed the lights flicker and her silhouette vanish as if swallowed by the air. The club shut down for renovations, but several employees claimed they kept finding red fabric under the stage long after the incident. The performer was never identified, and his mask was later found nailed to the backstage wall. Story 5. The Night of No Reflection. In 2023, a high-end nightclub in Los Angeles began getting strange reviews online. Patrons claimed that the mirrors in the restroom didn't reflect them properly. Faces looked delayed, movements reversed, and in one viral clip, a man's reflection smiled 2 seconds after he'd stopped. At first, everyone assumed it was a marketing stunt. But soon, the mood in the club changed. Several guests complained of headaches, nausea, and vertigo after using the restroom. One night, security cameras caught a guest smashing every mirror with his bare hands, screaming, "It's copying me wrong." When police arrived, the man had vanished. They reviewed the footage. Agnan saw something horrifying. In the reflection, the man was still standing there, staring back at the camera, even though the real him was gone. The owner tried to remove the mirrors, but contractors reported seeing their own reflections move while they worked. Some quit mid-job, refusing to go back inside. The club eventually closed. The building now sits abandoned, its glass windows covered in dust. But locals say that at night, if you walk past and glance into the shattered glass, you might see something looking back that isn't quite you.